Top of the broadcast, everyone. We would like to welcome everyone once again. This is our second broadcast, and we've been blessed to have Marc Hustle with us. This is one of the books that we'll be discussing today. Once again, remember, One Sought Out is designed strictly to bring awareness to those of San Antonio that are doing something positive in the community, networking with others, and being uplifting, so all be able to benefit from the enlightenment that we share with everyone that's willing to take a chance. This book is called Caviar Dreams, and today's guest, as I said, Mr. Marc Hustle.
How you doing today, brother?
I'm above ground, so I'm blessed and highly favored. This book caught my attention. There's so much about it that I really wanted to ask you, not just about the information only, but some of the people that you had chosen. Like on page 12, you have some young guys here who are guilty by association, which is really the truth.
Yeah, a lot of people get chosen guilty by association, you know. Most of the people judge you by your friends. You know, the people you keep around you sometimes get you in way more trouble than you can do alone. So, you know, before you choose who you out there hanging out with, you need to think about what they might get you into.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, sometimes that information need to be passed on. I use that picture to kind of like pass that information on.
Yes, and the other part to kind of piggyback with that is the opportunities that goes on. When you say here, remember, I've been reading this, but it has a picture. It's T.I. He has on his suit, still saluting. He has on his baseball. He's very versatile, and that's one of the main things that you suggest in this book, that a person must be versatile in order for them to be able to achieve their goals.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be able to look good in a shirt and a tie just as well you do in a ball cap and jeans, you know. Don't let the only suit you own be the one you get buried in. So, I mean, you got to invest your time into not just, you know, one or two outfits. You got to be able to dress across the board, but still be yourself.
Right.
You know, because how you dress is how you're going to be addressed.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if you out in public with your pants hanging below your bottom, people going to treat you like that. But if you out with a shirt and a tie on, people going to treat you with, you got something going about yourself, you know.
Right. And I also noticed in here, it was basically your attitude is that's the way people reflect, because if you go into a job interview, I say this to a lot of youth, you know, we have 4 sons and 3 daughters. If you're going out to interview at a job, look at it like someone is that you're hiring them. So if you're not going to dress for the job, then why waste your time? Like, if you're going to be in an environment where there are going to be suits, why are you going with baggy pants and a t-shirt on, or you wearing shorts?
Not even
I've
saying
seen that.
Right now I got a job. I'm an assistant manager at a store. I do a lot of interviews, weekly interviews, and I constantly see people come in, shirt, you know, no collar shirt, t-shirt, shorts, flip-flops. I mean, in the year I was growing up in school, we was always told dress for success. You know, I mean, you can't be successful if you dressing broke. You know, how can you expect to earn some money if you ain't putting money into, you know, how you look on the outside? How you look on the outside definitely reflects how you feel on the inside.
Yes.
So if you look bummy on the outside, you might feel bummy on the inside. And don't nobody want to hire nobody that's gonna look bummy, because it makes the business look bummy.
Exactly. And I was back to the book again because it's time is money. I was reading here in one of your sections with Michael Jordan, of course, who still in the league of his own. It says, to be successful, you have to be selfish, or else you never achieve. And once you get to your highest level, then you have to be unselfish. You know, stay reachable, stay in touch, don't isolate. Because
Definitely.
there's a lot of people I know that they get their money and they forget how to give back. And
Yeah.
I wanted you to elaborate on that one.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't understand, just because you get money, you don't change your morals. I mean, if you a God-given man, or I would say a God-fearing man, when you was broke, you're going to definitely be a God-fearing man when you got $1 million. If you was someone who helped the homeless when you had a last dollar in your pocket, you're definitely going to be someone who helped the homeless when they got $1 million in the bank. I mean, you don't change your morals because you have money.
Right.
You know, when I say being selfish, well, actually, it was a quote from Michael Jordan.
Yes, it was.
When he said be selfish, you know, I took it as a quote saying, you got to think about yourself in order, you know, get where you want to be in life. You can't help the broke if you broke.
Exactly.
You know, but you can do a lot of help for the poor people when you got money. It was a quote by, I think Jay-Z said in the song, you know.
I seen that too. Go ahead.
I got rich and gave back to the poor. You know, I mean, it's a lot of stuff that he does that's positive, you know, but a lot of people look at rap music as a negative thing, but they don't even see the positive that a lot of those artists do.
And that's something else I was going to bring up, because a lot of people don't know, but on page 45 here, you have, of course, Tookie Williams.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people
Oh, yes.
minimize his transition.
Not only his transition, his whole situation.
Yes.
You know, I mean, he was an intelligent man. I mean, he wasn't just a crook or a criminal, as they say. He was nominated for, I think, 5 Nobel Peace Prizes.
Yes, he was.
You know, he wrote books to keep kids out of gangs. You know,
Yes.
but people demonize him just because he made a simple mistake, which he don't even. Well, I like to say he don't even remember making because he was high off a drug. So
Exactly.
I mean, how can you can hold him accountable for it, but you know, he reflected back on that and he tried to change the world in his own way.
Exactly. Giving back to the same community that
He-
he helped
destroy.
Exactly. I was what made me think about it was because there are a lot of people who minimize the goodness that he did, and I didn't read it in here, but it made me think about Freeway Ricky Ross, how he tried to come back and try to give back to the community.
Yeah, they shut him out
Immediately.
Yes.
You know. So I thought about that one as well. There's so many different subjects in here that really make me really think how blessed I am. Like on page 64 here, you have the track runner, and he has those artificial legs on both of them.
Cat Williams called them
Ting. I know, I was
bent
trying
back
not to
paper
call
clips.
him. Yeah, I was trying not to do that. Cat Williams, my man.
He called them bent back paper clips. But yeah, he had no legs. You
Yes.
know, and that story that he told about, you know, so-called Tink was completely true.
Yes,
you
it
know?
was.
I mean, how can you disqualify a man in a foot race who don't have no feet?
No legs. You know what I mean?
Just because he went it, you know. But those are little reminders, you know. He didn't let the fact that not having feet stop him from what he wanted to do in life, his passion, his goals, his caviar, you know.
Right.
Running was his caviar.
Okay. And that's what he got back to and won.
And
then they
won.
disqualified him for
Not having no feet.
anyway. I didn't get it. There's another quote in here. A lot of people misconstrued him in the end, but it's one of my mentors. I really like the way his transition went. It's Malcolm X. I call him the Prince Malcolm.
Oh, yes.
That's just me personally, because I remember him from being Detroit Red to Malcolm Little to Malcolm X, and then when he went on this pilgrimage and came back, he found out that it's just a skin condition that
Yes.
separate us as humans.
Yes.
But everyone has minimized his message to by all means necessary. But it was so much more
A lot
to
more
him.
than that.
You know, and like he said in one of his quotes, there's nothing wrong with being a crook. It's staying a criminal that is the crime.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Oh,
that's
yes.
that's the thing.
I mean, a lot of people make mistakes in life. You know, you fall, you get up, you keep going. You fall, you get up, you keep going. I mean, if you fall and you lay down, giving up should never be an option.
Right.
I mean, never, ever, ever should be an option. We human.
Yeah.
We done made planes fly. We done put spaceships on the moon. We done made it to Mars. If you got 2 arms, 2 legs, 10 toes, 10 fingers, it ain't nothing in this world you can't complete, you know.
Yes.
Impossible just takes longer to do.
Yes. The other role model that you and I both share is a man named Bruce Lee.
Oh, yes.
Oh my
Flow
God.
like water.
Yes, yes. My only limit is unlimited.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I bring him up because it only proves that one man can change the way we view a whole ethnicity of people.
I think the crazy thing about it, Bruce Lee was actually already dead before I was born, and he still influenced my life.
Yes.
So I mean, it's almost like Da Vinci. Some of his designs that was in his book were created to 500 years later. You know what I mean? We got airplanes, helicopters, submarines, scuba gear, all from Da Vinci 500 years before his time.
Yes.
You know, so you can learn something from anybody. You know, I mean, if it ain't nothing but the smallest thing, we learn from people's downfalls, and we also learn from their accomplishments.
Exactly.
It's what you take from the situation.
And any man is able to make a difference in the world.
Yes.
Any man, woman, or child is able to make a
The only thing that
difference.
separates me and you is the way we think.
Exactly. I read that in this book as well. The only thing that can hold us back is ourselves.
Of course.
You know.
Of course. I mean, a lot of young people nowadays hold themselves back just by the titles they put on themselves. I mean, you call yourself trap star, trap king. I mean, the basis of that word is trap. When you, the whole syllable of that word is stuck in a spot you can't get out of.
Right.
I mean, why would you want to be the king of the trap? Why would you want to be the, trap star? I mean, the objective when I was coming up was to make you money, get out of the situation you was in, reach back, help somebody else get out of the situation they was in, and keep that train going.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, if you only trying to stay in the situation you in, you limit yourself. You already limit yourself before anybody else have limited you. You know, if you don't think you can go to college and complete it, you can't go to college and complete it because you don't believe in yourself.
Exactly.
It starts with here first. You know, when you believe in here, then there you can do. You know what I mean? Like I said, my first belief is God first, me second. With that and my determination, ain't nothing I can't complete.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I pulled from Bruce Lee myself. When people ask, because, you know, I've been allowed and blessed to travel from Detroit all the way down to here and actually live and function. And we've been blessed. I mean, we've seen some things and we've been allowed to change a few things, or at least a person's thought about way they can see. Because I still say, I used to go to places to go to work and stuff, traveling, and they'd be like, well, where you from? I say, I'm from Detroit. You don't seem like you're from Detroit. You don't talk like you're from Detroit.
How do Detroit people supposed to sing?
That's the first thing crossed my mind. How do me talking the way I do and acting the way I act, carrying myself this way, what makes you think that other Detroiters are not like this? Why is it the stereotypic idea that poor communities of all ethnicities are all thieves, murderers, liars, conspirators? And that goes back to the reverse psychology, as you have put in this book, how they took what we use for information, as we called it hip hop back in the days, and then they started exploiting it by making it into rap music where they could profit, but there was no real substance or message into the music.
Of course. I mean, nowadays hip hop is like that new Negro spiritual where we all know the words to the song, but if you don't get the message, you just bobbing your head to the beat. Right. You know, it's messages in the song, and sometimes they gotta hide that message so deep within that song that, you know, it won't get taken off the shelf. Because if you put a positive message out there, strictly a positive message, it won't get no airplay.
Yes.
It won't. You know, for the simple fact you're trying to do something to change the income.
Right.
Because jail is a revolving door, welfare is a revolving door. You know, and as long as you putting out music to make people think gangbanging is cool, killing is cool, you know, selling drugs is cool, which selling drugs is probably the hardest job you ever have in this world because you running all the positions, you know, from the manager all the way up to the CEO and president. Right. You spend less time just getting a regular job, you know. When you put a message out like that, it won't get played. You know, it doesn't benefit the people who are actually making money off the music.
Exactly.
As I would like to say it.
The industry.
Oh,
that's what I call it, the industry.
That's why a lot of labels now are independent, and you can put out whatever music you want. And you know, music, you see it now, music is starting to change back to hip hop. Right. You know, when hip hop has so many genres in it, from hardcore rap, gangster rap, down south rap, but hip hop as a whole gets blamed for everything that goes wrong in those other genres or subgenres.
And that was another subject that you covered in here, love the haters.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I love that one.
You gotta
That
love
was-
your haters.
Yes.
They motivate you. You know, they motivate you. When a hater is hating on you, you're definitely doing something right. You know, nobody wants to see you do good when they're doing bad. You know, when I said misery loves company, it demands company.
Demands.
You know, and that's one of those hidden gems I say are hidden in plain sight. How many times have you been told misery demands company?
Right.
Well, if you sitting around and your friends sitting around, neither one you got a job, and you decide I'm gonna go to school, and he tell you, man, you can't do it. Love your hater because he motivates you to go out there and show up that you can do it without him.
That's right. And that's the best way to be successful, is to prove a person wrong. Because there were so many people that said it could not be done, you know, and some of your work in here, it goes back generations. That's
course.
been passed down, as you kind of touched on a moment ago, where if you receiving welfare and you don't want no better, then you'll pass that thought to your child, and then that child will pass it on to their child, instead of, hey, listen, back in the 30s, my grandfather sacrificed in order for me to get past the 6th grade education. I was blessed to go through several years of college because of his sacrifice. But these programs are being taken away, and you mentioned some of that in this book as well.
A lot of programs being taken away.
Yes.
You know? And those are programs that benefited us as growing up. You know, I mean, if you take those programs away, how can you make the kids better, you know, than we were? If you take away the programs that made us who we are, we need to capitalize on those programs. You know, we don't have too many after-school programs anymore to keep the kids out of the streets and out of the gangs. You know, the communities will bring back together that I guess the Little League football for the community. You know, they do have those, you know, of course, but I guess they're not as interesting or not as appealing to the kids as they were when we were growing up. You know, with so many video games and different things like that, they're not as appealing.
Right.
But I mean, you got stuff like Snoop. He does the Snooper Bowl on the West Coast. And, you know, completely funded by him. You know, and it's a little league team to teach those kids sportsmanship. You know, brotherhood. You know. Morals, goals, you know, accomplish different things, gives away trophies and stuff like that, but it keeps them out of gangs. It keeps them off the streets, you know what I'm saying? And they learn different things other than hanging out.
Exactly.
You know, I got a cousin who moved from California to Atlanta because he said he didn't want his daughter to grow up just knowing guys hanging out in the corner, black guys hanging out in the corners. He wanted to be able to say, hey, you see that guy, he's hanging out in the corner, but if we ride the street, you see that guy, he's a lawyer. They both the same race.
Exactly. Both ethnicities. I was sitting up also, and I was thinking about, a lot of people only talk about Snoop as far as smoking weed and things like that, but he's not the only one that does good. Like Nelly has a sickle cell foundation that people don't talk about because his sister had sickle cell. So he founded something in order to give back to the community. And these are the stories that's not being talked about, but this book brings
I
out.
shed a lot of light on those. You know, 50 Cent does a lot of giving back to the community. Jay-Z gives back to the community. You know, a lot of these artists give back to the community because those morals were built into them. You know, they might have came up on the wrong side of the law when they first started, but in that mind was always a great businessman. And if you could see, those men have created finances, I mean, I can say financial kingdoms, you know, but they turn around and they give a portion of that wealth back to the same communities that people say they destroyed, but not only the communities here in America, but across in other countries, you know, doing things that artists that millionaires and billionaires don't do right here in the States, you know, and they give directly impact those kids, you know. Some kids say, I want to grow up and be like Jay-Z. People are like, you can't be a rapper. They don't want to be like Jay-Z the rapper. They want to be like Jay-Z the philanthropist. You know, the businessman. You know, those are the kind of goals that they have now, you know, because he showed them, I'm not only a rapper, I'm a businessman too. I'm a philanthropist. I'm more than, I'm an onion. It's layers to me, you know. It's layers to the industry. It's layers to everybody. You just got to peel back the layers and find which one to you fits you the best. But they're all still part of you.
And I'm going to touch another subject because it's, people believe me, it's more to this book than what we're saying as far as hip hop go or rap. It's the way we dress, the way we carry ourselves. What we're working at, and I love this book, is trying to teach us as poor people, with no matter what your ethnicity is, that people receive you the way you carry yourself. And if you arrogant because you got finances doesn't make you better than, and because you're poor and you think less than yourself, don't make you less than. We have to find a way to come together and use these resources, and that's one of the things that not only Caviar Dreams bring out, but it helps people get motivated. One other thing that I do want to touch on, cause we have a few minutes.
Yeah, take your
It's
time. Take your time.
it's the recycling thing that people think things are new, and they're really not.
They really not.
And
They
that was
really not.
one of the things I wanted you to touch on as well.
People say YOLO like we live twice. You know, I mean, you only live once. Been around for millions, and I won't even say millions of years. You know,
I got
tens. You get me. You understand
Yes.
me. It's not new to us. A lot of this information that's being recycled around is not new. It's just being used in a different context that we're not used to. You know,
Exactly.
I'm not used to the new rap. I'm not used to the new hip hop. But you know, at the same time, it's passing a different kind of message to a different generation.
Exactly.
You know, I talked to a wise lady, your wife, the other day, who told me I'm in a perfect position. You know, where I saw the rotary phone, so I can log into Facebook on my phone. You know, I remember sitting down watching cartoons that were actually cartoons.
Yeah.
Until now, it's like almost realistic cartoons. So, I mean, I've seen basically us turn around from a digital nation, from an analog nation to a digital nation.
Exactly.
But also saw music evolve from just plain old trying to put a message out, from Grandmaster Flash, you know, all the way up to
Eric B. Rakim.
yes, you know, to what we have now, you know.
Yes.
And people try to label music or hip hop as a black thing. It's not. Hip hop has always been a universal. You know,
Yes.
I think Rick Rubin helped start Def Jam, and Rick
yes, he
Rubin's
did.
white and
He's Jewish.
He's Jewish, and Russell
and that's my
Simmons
friend.
is black.
Yes,
so,
yes,
you know,
yes.
you look at so hip hop has never been just a one race thing. It's always
Exactly.
been multicultural. We got hip hop in Asia. We
Yes.
got hip hop in the Philippines, in Africa. You know, hip hop is a tool.
Right.
It's a tool used to pass along information to people in the same situation you in. Whether they got $1 in their pocket, $1,000 in their pocket, or $1 million in the bank, or $10 billion in the bank. It's a message to pass along some type of information. And some people misuse it, and some people really, really use it to their advantage, you know, to pass along that message, to help everybody.
And that's one of the things I like. I seen Pac pitch in here, and he's definitely a versatile young man. Well, one of the things he said in his hustle game was, "I'm trying to make $1 out of 15 cents."
Yes.
There are so many people in the hood, in the projects, and believe me, ghettos smell the same all across the world. I've seen them from Compton all the way to the Brewster projects and Courtside, Starf. I mean, they're everywhere. And one of the things that people miss, and it's hidden in plain sight, as you say, the word is called a project.
Oh yes, it's always been a project.
Exactly.
You know, it ain't never been something to get you off of being a project. You know,
Right.
if you're a project, you're just a specimen.
Exactly.
So I mean, since the word project was created, it wasn't meant to go no further than to help people. Well, I ain't gonna say not help people, but keep people in a situation. I mean, if you're a project, you in a jar,
Right.
a specimen, a beaker. So
Yes.
I mean, you can't get out that beaker unless we let you out. You know, welfare, like I said, was a revolving door, and it's designed to be a revolving door.
Yes.
It's not designed to help you off of welfare, because as soon as you start to generate extra income, they cut down your welfare.
Exactly.
You know, instead of letting you put some money in the bank so you can get yourself off welfare, we're going to take the money we're giving you away so you
Continue to keep
continue
it in the
to
same
struggle.
cycle. There's one more thing I do want to talk about. We have a few seconds. We were looking at role models. You and I both. We know that Eddie Conway just came home after 44 years.
Oh, yes.
Now, I need you to do something for me. I need them to see your watch. For those of y'all who do not know, this is my old school watch. This is a computer, a telephone, a watch, Bluetooth, the whole 9 yards. When Eddie went to jail 44 years ago, this was the things that he was looking at. Now that he's come home, and not many people know who Eddie Conway is, but he was one of the original Black Panther Party, Black Panthers for self-defense, Black Panther Party of self-defense. And he spent 44 years in jail. And now that he's come home, it's difficult to try to get this kind of technology to the guys who's been locked up so long.
Of
And they
course.
say that they're trying to rehabilitate, but you and I both know that it's a private prison world.
Prison is a warehouse. It's not built to rehabilitate you. It's built to be a business or organization. You know, every time you see a name or a number inside a prison, just put a dollar sign in front of it. You
Basically.
know? I think they just busted some judges that was doing, they called it the kids for cash scam.
Yes, they did.
Well, a private detention center was charging $238 a night per bed, per kid, per child. That's more than some 4-star hotels.
Yes, it is.
You know,
Yes, it is.
to warehouse them. They're not sending them to school. They're not educating them. They're just holding them there. So I mean, and basically, you know, put them in the system, and then telling them you can't get a job. You can't go do this. You can't go do that. You can't do a lot of things now that you got this record.
Right.
Well, I mean, who told me I can't do it other than you? Because I didn't tell myself I couldn't do it. You know, because as long as I put my mind to it and God believes me and I believe in God, I'm going to do it.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that goes back to we are what we eat. If we tell ourselves we can't do it, I do want to be able to help our community. Like I said, there are other programs. And you have a friend also, he's working on the east side. And he's
Does graffiti on the east side. Not necessarily, I wouldn't call it graffiti. He does artwork. He does murals.
Right.
Any business that wants a mural, he does those. But he also does free art shows. You know, I deal with a lot of people who give back. You know, I surround myself with the same people I am. You know, I'm a person who gives back to the community. I give my jackets to homeless people. You know,
I know.
I do a lot of stuff to help the community, but directly impact them. You know, I mean, they're small things. You know, they're very minute things. You know, but those minute things help people out. You know, a jacket on a cold night. You know. You don't know how much that'll help somebody out. You know,
me.
You walk up and you get somebody a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? They just sleeping on the curb, or you have to wake them up to get them a Subway sandwich. It might just be a cold cut combo, but it's still, you know, food in their stomach, something they didn't have before. You know, those little things right there help people out. You know, and when you impact a small person, it tends to snowball to something totally bigger. You know, they make life the choices a little bit better. You know. I mean, I didn't die and go to jail for every bad choice I made, you know. So I'm trying to help people understand that that doesn't happen to you. So when somebody tell you made a bad choice and something's about to happen to you, you know, you gotta
really look at it.
Look at it.
Because it is written in Proverbs, a just man falls 7 times, but he rises again.
Yes,
Most people forget that. It's almost time for us to conclude. I do want to thank you again.
Thank you, brother.
Mark. I also want to remind people again, we are available here for San Antonio to be able to put groups together. There are people that we would like to see on our show, like you and I were talking about Judge Sheldon, how he has an alternative program. Instead of going to prison, you can work it off. And then you also have other programs like xfelony.org, where they hire nothing but felons. This book has a lot of information that goes into a lot of things. I keep holding it up and referencing it because I don't want people just to believe that this book is only about hip hop or is just about one ethnicity of people. This is about enlightenment, bettering yourself, and as you better yourself, you better your community. And knowing Mark is really a privilege for me because being here, there are so many untapped resources that both of us are working on, and I pray in time that we'll be able to do another show and it'll be something that can really help our community. Once again, we'd like to thank everyone for coming to One Sought Out, and we look forward to our next installation or information, and hopefully everyone got something out of this. May the Lord bless each and every one of you, and have a blessed and pleasant week. Thank you very much. Peace.